Yeah, with me today I have the pioneer, Mr. Vilakazi. We all know Mr. Vilakazi, but Mr. Vilakazi, I'll just give you a chance to introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you. Greetings to you, Sia.
Yeah.
My name is Raphael Vilakazi.
Yes.
I'm an opera singer by profession, and I am also a producer, an adjudicator, and a facilitator of music workshops.
Yes, yes, yes. Um, Mr. Vilakazi, without wasting any time, let's go straight to classical music professionals. What is classical music professionals?
Well, Classical Music Professionals is an organization that was established in 2023.
Yes.
Uh, yes, by practitioners in the province of KwaZulu-Natal.
Mm.
Uh, I'm one of the people who initiated the founding of the organization, myself and Mabongi Makwaza.
Okay.
And then we invited colleagues to be part and parcel of the establishment of the organization
Yeah.
last year.
Mm.
Yes, and the main objective of the organization is to promote, develop, and support all levels of classical music genre value chain in the province of KwaZulu-Natal.
Mm.
And yes, that is the main objective of starting the organization.
Mm. 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 Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Tell us about the vision and the mission of the organization.
Uh, the vision and the mission of the organization mainly is to ensure that there is unity
Mm.
amongst classical musicians in the province of KwaZulu-Natal.
Yes.
Now, when we talk of classical musicians in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, we
Mm.
are not only talking about choirs, as well as probably soloists, and we're just talking about the whole value chain, all the segments of classical music in the province.
Yes.
You are talking composers, you are talking pianists,
Mm.
you are even talking about the ladies who are seamstresses who are making uniform for choirs.
Mm.
You
Mm.
know, you're talking adjudicators. So that is the main that is the vision of this organization, that we should work together as
Mm.
a united front
Mm.
in the province of KwaZulu Natal,
Mm.
and ensure that job creation is created for our 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 members who are our affiliates.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, 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 yeah. I understand. I understand. I get you clearly, uh, but most of the time we start organizations and structures and choral and classic music, then they fade away. Sibone sezingekho 2 years, 3 years down the line, asekho. Can you assure us about CPM? Yintoni enicinga iza kwenza yona ilast and yenze sure uba everyone omkhawuntileyo kule organization uyabhenefitha and uhoyekile.
Okay, you know, the first thing that we did when we established this organization, we wanted to show that we cluster musicians in
Mm.
certain categories,
Yes.
so
Mm.
that we know that all of them are taken care of.
Yes.
I'm talking choir conductors, I'm talking ensembles, I'm talking accompanies, stage directors, and so forth.
Mm.
Now, what we have about 8 clusters,
Yes.
and those clusters are quality assurers and music facilitators.
Mm.
Uh, so those are the people who are involved in that cluster. And then we have uh, a cluster of choirs and chamber choirs. That's another cluster. We also have a cluster we call classical music performers, which includes pianists, instrumentalists, orchestras, and soloists, as well as opera ensembles. And we music production people who then are responsible for the production when we do our productions on stage, when we stage our concert. And then we have also safekeepers, which are archivists, music librarians, and data capturers and music publishers. And then we have a cluster. The last cluster would be a cluster of music administrators, which are managers, choir managers, and those who are doing talent search as well as concert and event organizers. Now, we believe that by ensuring that all these segments are involved in our space, we are in a position of ensuring that what we are doing does not die as it happens. And also something else that I think it's important is that the people that matter to us, it's not those who are in leadership, but it is the people that we serve. And I think that is where a lot of things go wrong in most structures, where those who are in leadership become more important than those that are being served. So we believe that as an organization, if we focus mainly on our objective of developing our artists, we will be able to succeed as an organization and survive going forward. And what is also important for us is that we are not an organization for events or for doing events. Our members, those who are our members, organizations that are our members, and individuals that are our members, those are the people who should be doing events. We should not be competing with them. Ours is to lobby on their behalf, to ensure that they achieve what they wish to achieve. So we lobby government on their behalf to ensure that the level, the ground is leveled for them to be able to do what they're supposed to do, and also to assist them as well in any way where they need assistance. So ours is to identify areas where our members need assistance rather than competing with them by staging events, I mean, of course, as an organization, we may have probably a big festival that we do, one festival that we do that includes our districts, different districts, because our members come from 11 districts of KwaZulu-Natal. In the province of KwaZulu-Natal. So we may have just one big festival a year where we all get together, but our members will identify choirs from their own areas, soloists from their own areas, and so forth. Maybe we'll start at district level, and then that festival will culminate to a provincial festival. But that's the only thing that we will do. But mainly ours is to ensure that we open opportunities for our own members by ensuring that they are assisted in any way. As you would know that choirs are battling, especially after COVID. And also they are battling with a lot of things. They are battling with funding. So ours is to ensure that we train them, our members. We train our members so that they are able to look for funding for themselves. What we mean by training them is to ensure that they register their choirs as NPOs, that is number one, or non-profit companies, so that they are able to access funding and all the compliance that is needed for that. We need to do that. Not only choirs, as well, as I said, that we are not only focusing on choirs, even our soloists, and also to, at some stage, to assist our choirs or members to ensure that those who want to pursue the career of classical music
Yes.
further, we are able to provide probably funding support for them to register at universities where they want to register and ensure that they realize their dream at the end of the day. So that is our focus. Our
Mm.
focus is competing with our members. Our focus is to ensure that our members are well armed and capacitated with the correct knowledge that they need as they do their work.
Mm. Mm. Raphael, I know you've been traveling the world a lot with opera music. Uh, what are we doing wrong, or what are they doing right uh, outside the country that makes classical music to be recognized in those abroad, because we see the influx of our choristers, classical and opera choristers going abroad. What are they doing different from us?
Well, I think there's a lot that they are doing different from us. Firstly, they get support from government.
Mm.
That's number one. They also get support from business as well. You know, in our country, there is a big problem with funding.
Yes.
And I am hopeful, though, that the minister speaks a language, the current minister,
Mm.
Gayton Mackenzie, speaks a language of wanting to change things that artists should benefit. So I am hoping that at least there will be a change, you know. But of course, everything, I mean, they've just started with processes of establishing boards of different sectors that will be responsible to lobby government and come up with models, funding models that may be able to assist us going forward in terms of ensuring that we get funding. You know, so I just think those are the main things in terms of what those guys are doing correctly in Europe. Number two, number three, what I think went wrong in South Africa is when we took over power, we wanted to dismantle everything that we found,
Yeah.
even things that were working.
Mm.
You
Mm.
know, I mean, I grew up in Durban. I grew up singing, working at the Playhouse,
Yes.
which was then the Natal Performing Arts Council,
Mm.
singing operas. There would probably stage 5, 6 operas a year, you know, and we were employed there.
Mm.
But when we took over power, we just decided that let's dismantle everything without doing a proper analysis of what is needed, of whether this will work or
Mm.
this will not work. I mean, as you know, right now we are going back to things that we want, that we dismantled. Like
Yes. Yes.
we have a shortage of teachers, we have a shortage of nurses, and so forth. So all those things should not have happened. But I hope that a lesson was learned, you know, in that. So in dismantling the old performing arts councils,
Mm.
then that caused a vacuum in our space, which
Yes.
is the space of choral music. Of
Mm.
course, I understand why that happened, you know,
Yes.
because previously only a few people were benefiting. You know, it was the white people that were benefiting mainly during that time.
Mm.
So I think they were trying to ensure that the very small cake, you know, it gets to be accessed by almost everyone.
Yes.
But I do not think that we did very well on that front. So
Yeah.
I think we need to go back to the drawing board because I still believe that the opera theaters that are idling as we speak now,
Yes, because they are closed.
they were built for opera. Yeah,
Mm.
they were built for opera. No, some are working, they do
Yes.
whatever they do there, but they were built for opera, but we don't see operas there. But the other thing that I think that we have failed to do in this country is to ensure that we commission our own African composers
Mm.
to write our own stories, to write our own operas,
Mm.
you know.
Mm.
And I think that is another problem that we are having. I mean, to me, it doesn't help that we see so many black faces singing,
Mm.
but all they sing it's just Western music mainly.
Exactly. Mm.
You will only find probably one opera, one new opera that is written in an African language,
Yes.
probably uh, uh, every 3 years or so, and what have you.
Mm.
Yet, what dominates our stages is mainly Western music. So I
Mm.
think that is where we are going wrong, and I think we need to work hard on
Mm.
that
Mm.
as a country to
Yes.
ensure that our composers are commissioned to use music to tell our stories,
Mm.
our own stories. We try our level best in our small way where we can, but we are not getting enough support. I mean,
Yes.
I work closely with Mr. Penisela Sebisi, the
Yes.
composer, and I've commissioned him to do an opera,
Mm.
and it's a beautiful work that he composed.
Mm.
But we only could do Act One of that work because we did not get enough funds to do the full work, and it is now idling. And there is a young man here who has composed an opera called Umkabayiga Jama.
Mm.
That work, that guy composed the opera, Joshua Mtembu, composed that opera, I think
Yes,
it was
Joshua
around
Tim, yeah.
2019.
Mm.
Yes, around 2020, 2019 or so. And that work is idling, you know.
Mm.
And I think that is where we have a challenge as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as long as we don't get enough funding, uh, we will still have a problem. We'll still have our young singers
Yes.
going overseas to seek opportunities because there are no opportunities for them here.
Mm. Mm.
So maybe just to go back to say, so as classical music professionals, that is what we want to do. We want to lobby government so that there is enough funding, for our own artists.
Yes.
Uh, of course, not all of us will go overseas and live overseas, but those that are not able to go overseas, they should be working in South Africa.
Mm.
And the challenge is that most of our singers who are trained as opera singers, uh, they end up applying for jobs as teachers, where
Exactly.
they
Mm.
just teach. Yes, where they just teach mathematics and so forth, not what they went to school to study,
Yes. Yes.
and
Yes.
that's a challenge as well for us.
Mm. There was a question that was raised by Zim6. He was asking this question somewhere that, recently we had Shaka Ilembe on TV, but
Yes.
we have a composition of Shaka that was not included there. So I think you also need to go to those production companies and show them that we have these things. We can help there and there. We can work with you. We can collaborate with you.
You see, that is very true what you are saying. Uh, I have nothing against my white counterparts,
Mm. Mm.
but I still think uh, things favor them.
Mm.
You know,
Yes.
when an African work has a touch of a person,
Mm.
it gets traction.
Yes.
And that is where the problem is for me, you know uh, uh, that is where the problem is for me.
Mm.
But works that are written by black people, even those that are responsible for orchestras in this country and what have you, they don't do much. You know, I mean, let me make an example. We have orchestras in this country,
Yes.
different orchestras, not one orchestra, different orchestras in different parts of the country, Cape Town, Durban, Gauteng, Eastern Cape, and East London, and so forth. But in their repertoire, they would have something that they would have concerts that they do every season, a winter season, a summer season, and so forth. But you find that in those seasons, the repertoire that is played there does not reflect that they are in Africa.
Sad truth.
You know, and that is the issue. I mean, let me also make another example. You would know the work by Qinisela Sibisi,
Yes.
yes, the Zulu Mass.
Yeah.
I mean, the Zulu Mass was last performed in this country when it was launched in 2008. But how many times have we had Mozart Requiem? Have we had Handel's Messiah? You know? And so that is where we are just having a big challenge when it comes to that. I think there should be some kind of mind shift from those who are running our orchestras, all of them. I'm not picking on any person.
Yes.
I'm just saying all of them. They just need to do justice. You know, I mean, you will only probably see an African composition when they are celebrating Heritage Month, you know, and then you see an African composition featured. But whenever they do these concerts, I mean, even in Easter, we don't have anything. And we have quite a number of composers who have composed African works. You know, you have Musa Nkuna, you have Mohau Mohale, you have quite a number of young, of people who are composers who have composed works, but they seemingly there is no working a relationship with these composers by those who are in power when it comes to the running of orchestras in our country. So for me, those are some of the things that need to change. And those things can only be changed by us, you know? And so that is what we need to be talking about with those that are in charge of these orchestras, to say, these are composers. As I said, that we have a segment of composers. These are composers. These are their works. Can you have a look at them? Can you try this one? Can you try that one? And so forth. And, you know, and I think in that way, we will see a change happening even. And then you will see people, audiences also changing. Because when you go to concerts these days, you still see, I mean, probably 80-90%, it's white people who go to these concerts, you know. Now, I am saying we identify with our own as well. So the minute you have two choirs, black choirs on stage singing and so forth, and singing a work that is written by an African composers, then you'll get to see audience, you know, that reflects the fact that the person who has written the work is an African composer. So I think those are some of the things that we need to look at as people who are lobby. You know, we need to lobby for our artists. Their works should not be gathering dust. We should be doing something as people who are in leadership.
Mr. Vilakazi, I don't know, so you said it all. If asifanga kule nto ishoyo now asoze siphinde sive. One thing endifuna uyibuza wena but I just need your views. There was a Old Mutual Choir Festival, then yaphela after COVID or before COVID, after COVID, yeah. Yeah. Then now we have a new one that is Tirombane Foundation National Competition. Just give us your overall views on the competition.
Well, I think, firstly, I think we do need to applaud Mr. Tirompane
Yes.
for ensuring that he has come into the space to say, guys, this is my vision and this is what I want to do. And I'm also making funds available
Mm.
to do this because there's been a vacuum since the National Choir Festival shut down a couple of years back. Uh, that's a good gesture from his side, and I applaud him for doing that.
Yes.
I think it's, and also the vision is good. However, I just have my own observations with some of the things
Yeah.
in terms of how the whole competition is organized,
Yes.
because I believe that for people to buy into something, they would also wish to see people who come from their areas being part and parcel of the whole thing, you know,
Yes.
and so that is number one for me.
Mm.
Number two, I just think that it's important that when we do things and say this is for the people, we ensure that we meet people halfway,
Yes.
somehow. I just think that it's beautiful, as I said, that the vision is beautiful, the repertoire and so forth.
Mm.
But I just think that choirs needed more assistance in ensuring that they access the music and so forth, and so forth. So it is my suggestion that probably next time or next year, if they could probably assist choirs the best way they can to make music available to choirs, and
Mm.
if they could negotiate with
Yes.
composers,
Mm.
African composers,
Mm.
as the organization, rather than choirs individually having to negotiate with
Like the
composers.
proposals, yeah.
That would be my advice. Other
Mm.
than that, it's a good concept. The competition is good, and we are supporting it. In KZN as CMP, we have supported our choirs that participated in the competition from the very onset,
Mm.
and to ensure that they all got the music, and some they got even permissions from composers and so forth. So it is a good concept, and I think things will improve going forward.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it is not. I mean, if I mean, I just think that we need to be careful as well
Mm.
with I mean, our criticism. If we criticize something, it should be constructive.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Mm.
it should not be yeah. And also, we need to be cognizant of the fact that this is a new competition.
Mm. Mm.
There will be challenges here and there. So I think that is what I can say about the competition. It's a good competition, and I mean a lot of things will change going forward. However, I think uh, Mr. Mpane did need assistance in terms of partners who
Yeah.
will assist
Yes.
in,
Yes.
yeah, because I don't think that he can be able to go on funding a competition of this magnitude on his own. So I think he does need assistance somehow from those who can partner with him in this vision of his. So I think that is what needs to happen going forward. But as a concept, it is a good concept, and I think it needs to be supported
Mm.
by all of us. We are doing our level best, as I'm saying that in KZN, we are. I mean, as CMP, we were even mobilizing our members to vote for our choirs, for the choir that was eligible to be voted for as Kawini choristers.
Oh,
Unfortunately, Matthew Singers came on top.
yes.
But I mean, we are supporting our choirs and who are participating in the competition, and I'm sure that members of the MP will be also traveling to Johannesburg at Ellis Park to watch the competition from the
And yourself?
14th until the 15th of December.
And yourself?
I will be there. I will be there,
Oh, okay.
definitely.
Okay.
I will be there. I have to be there. I am the secretary of the people, so I have to be there. I have to make sure that I'm there, my brother.
Please salute the choir Eskawin for me. Yo, that is my choir. Yo, that one. Just saw it. It's a beautiful choir. I don't know what to say about it, but it's a beautiful choir. I salute it.
No, siyabonga kakhulu, my brother. Siyabonga kakhulu. And that's what we need to do in our province, is to ensure that we bring back the glory
Yes,
of our
yes.
province.
Yeah.
I mean, COVID affected all of us. It
Yeah.
affected all of us. So that is what we are trying to do with CMP. As I was saying, that we are not competing with anyone.
Yes.
We are just trying to make sure that the ground is fertile and that it is level for our members to ensure that they shine. And we have to ensure that we have choirs all over our province, And I'm glad that we now have Esikawini, which comes from King Cetshwayo district,
Yeah.
and it has just recent actually. It is a choir that was participating on the standard section, not very long time ago.
Yes.
But I mean, what they did when they were competing at the Tirompane competition, they displayed that they can do anything. They can do anything.
Mr. Vilakazi, because of ixesha, masibulele ngexesha lakho, singonelele ne-CMP ubomi obude. Nisebenze
No,
ngemvisiswano, niqhube niye phambili.
Yes, siyabonga kakhulu, my brother. We recently had an elective conference last weekend, actually, to elect new leadership because we've been operating as an interim structure for the past year. So then we had an opportunity. So new leadership was elected there, and it is leadership of people who are their passion is music.
Yes.
And I'm certain that they will do a lot to work with our people, with our choirs, to ensure that the organization achieves the vision of the organization. Because that is what is important. Our chairperson is Mr. Tulani Mtetwa. And yes, and then the first deputy chairperson is Mr. Msizi Myandu. Yes, and the second deputy chairperson is Mr. Mandlenkosi Mhlanzi, and I am the provincial secretary. And we have a deputy provincial secretary is Mtuseni Dlamini, and then we have a provincial administrator is Miss Nelly Swakatamzi, and our treasurer is Mr. Henson Ngumalo. And our provincial organizer is Miss Sipogazi Mapumulo. And then we have a desk of education and development, which is led by Miss Silindoguhle Zondo. And then we have Dr. Begani Butelezi as our provincial communications and liaison officer. And also in our clusters, as I said, that we have 8 clusters. We have elected people. Some are conductors to lead. Conductors will lead a cluster of a conductor will lead a cluster of conductors, and an adjudicator will lead a cluster of adjudicators. And this is to ensure that the needs of that segment are met. So that is how we have ensure that we take care of everyone in our space. So it is so we have probably a structure of about 33 people Of course, they do different things, of course, apart from the top 10 that I've just given you. But those are the people that are leading this organization.
Yeah, Bhuti, enkosi ngexesha lakho.
Yes, yeah.
Sharp, sharp.
Thank you very much, my brother, for the opportunity, and we appreciate it very much. Thanks. Take
Enkosi.
care.
Sharp.